Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Elsie and this is
Tony,
Okay, Tony. Today what are we talking about?
today we're going to talk about fear.
Scary topic.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think, what would you say fear is?
Fear. What is it?
Yes, what is it?
Well, there's lots of other words you can say: being scared, being terrified.
Yeah.
But the kinds of fear, I think that's more to the point.
Yeah.
We've got real desperate fear, like if you like the days of the cave people,
Right.
someone being chased by a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
There was real fear there, and because of real consequences, the tiger was going to eat that person if they got up to them. So that's that kind, and then we still have that kind of fear.
We do.
Yeah.
I would say though that today the fear of being cancelled is more real than the fear of getting eaten by a tiger. You have a greater
Well, that's
chance
true.
of getting cancelled and your bank accounts being closed down than being eaten by a tiger. So
Well, it's true, yeah, but I mean, there are other deadly threats which are quite real, just as I appreciate.
yeah.
I mean, for example, you'll never be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger because they're extinct anyway. But
Yeah.
no, the real threats, the real dangers, they are those, as well as
yeah.
how we would say the imaginary dangers or the things that we build up in our minds.
Right.
So much it might start off with a kernel of worry, and it just expands and expands, and then it can make us depressed and miserable and neglect our duty and just generally not do the right thing because we're fearful.
Right.
And most of the fears that surround us in the West are probably more of that kind than of the sort of being eaten by the tiger.
imaginary
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you've got other fears like, a fear of losing one's job, for example. Now, that's not quite as bad as being eaten by a tiger, unless it's a really,
Well,
it's a
at
really
least if
brilliant job. But
Well, if you get eaten by a tiger, you won't need a job. Like, you will be dead.
well,
Like-
that's true, unless you get half-eaten. But yeah, yes, true. If you look at it like that, in one sense, then we shouldn't worry about anything. You know, fatal car accidents, drowning in a river, whatever. Yeah,
Then you'll be dead and gone.
that's right. It was solved. If that's the end of the problem, in one way, that should help us be a little bit braver, but not foolishly brave,
No.
because maybe because we're human beings, we have some sense of values
Right.
as to what's worth risking, what's worth taking a chance for,
Yeah.
what's worth even dying for, you know?
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of times, people are putting their confidence, taking that risk, doing whatever, for things which are
Not
not
worth it.
good. Whether it's in the current situation we have in the world, I mean, hundreds of thousands of people, innocent people, and young people, whether it's soldiers in combat in Europe,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, dying for what?
For a piece of land. Oh, yeah.
I mean, for sort of, there's a piece of territory there which these people say they want to govern, those people say they want to govern. But if you ask the people who live in those areas who they would want to be governed by, why not let them choose?
Yeah.
Do we have a better right to choose than them? Oh, yeah, because historic right. We governed that so many years ago, so it should be still ours.
Yeah.
I mean, if we keep going back like that, on that basis, a so-called modern USA, we should be given really back to the indigenous population.
Yeah.
The Comanche and the Sioux and all the other tribes whom I can't remember the names of, but yeah, if we want to inherit that, I don't know who they might have taken the land off in the first place.
And then it goes back. And it never ends.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, when you put it that way, that we should we should be brave and we should give our lives to things which have value. You will agree with me that, well, value is relative, and, well, what you might say has the most value to you doesn't necessarily have the most value to the next person.
That's true.
So what you think that is so important to give your life to might not be so important for another
Well,
person.
that's true. Yeah.
But would you say that there should be certain things that as human beings we should be able to stand for, and to be able to, to be brave and to give our lives to?
Yeah, I do think, because if human beings don't have something worth living for, dying for,
Yeah.
then what are they doing? Are we just here to eat and drink and procreate, or just what are we here for? And what kind of being are we if we're just doing those things? Just like, because all the animal kingdom effectively does the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
They eat, drink, and procreate and die. Now, is that the measure that we should be in? Surely we're called to something a little bit higher than that.
Yeah.
And, that we should be able to see with other intellects that we've been given. And that's without even thinking about whether there's a spiritual dimension, whether we've been given a gift by a creator or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
What do you think people are scared of? Like, why won't people stand for what they believe in? Like, why won't people protect their values and fight for them?
well, because to most, well, let's face it, it's a purely natural thing. Survival is nature's first law.
Yeah.
And that's sort of hardwired into us.
Yeah.
Survival. Never mind that I want to be altruistic and help somebody else, or I would die for somebody else. Survival. And then, of course, the next thing is protect their own property, or protect your job, protect whatever.
Yeah.
How many times a person might feel that I'm not really doing the right thing, but oh my God, how am I going to manage?
Right.
It's the example. Just imagine somebody who worked in a factory, and the factory was making nuclear weapons, for argument's sake.
Right.
And then one day, they looked around and thought, oh my God, do I really want to be making something which can vaporize 500,000 or 1 million people just like that?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing this. So he goes and he does the principal thing. He says, listen, excuse me, I'd like to hand him a notice in. And he goes home and tells his spouse, I'm sorry, I haven't got a job. She says, what happened? I just can't do that anymore. And she said, well, hang on, we've got a mortgage to pay, we've got kids to do, we've got this, we've
Right.
got car tax, all the rest of it. Are you crazy? What's the matter with you? And besides, we need it for defense. Now,
that's what people like.
Well,
That's
yeah.
what the government tells us. We need nuclear weapons for defense.
Well, yeah. This is another subject. This is the lie that all this is for defense. It's not for defense. It's for offense.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. If it was only for defense, funny enough, I don't want to get this just on the subject of nuclear weapons, but you could look at North Korea,
Yeah.
who arguably have less than 25 nuclear weapons.
Right.
They may have slightly more now, but we're still talking in like double figures.
Yeah.
Okay. And they managed to hold the mightiest military force on the planet at bay, who've got thousands of nuclear warheads,
Yeah.
and they hold them at bay for the sake of their 25. So how many do you actually need for defense? Because those 25, if 3 or 4 of them get through, just imagine, one on Washington, one on New York, one on whatever. They don't want to take that chance.
Yeah.
So, we don't need thousands and thousands and thousands of them.
Nuclear. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So that's another, and that's that's a justifiable fear for people as well. Now, whether our mad policy, mutually assured destruction, seems to have kept the world safe from nuclear war, but look at the thousands and thousands dying in other kinds of war. Millions, in fact, when you look at what happened in Soviet Russia, in Nazi Germany, in the Far East. My God, it's just been people killing. And there won't be any change until there's a change in here, in individual hearts.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's just a case of people using more and more sophisticated things than clubs and stones and saber-toothed tigers. We're not using those, but we're
Yeah.
using sort of far more sophisticated things.
Sophisticated things. Yeah.
And, to destroy people we perceive as an enemy.
Mm.
And the people that govern us, they need an enemy to point us towards.
Yeah.
Because then they can say they're protecting us. We need them to protect us, to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Because if they weren't there, my God, just think what would happen. We think, oh yeah, we should support our government. We
Yeah.
don't want, because apart from that, we don't want to be traitors, and we don't want to look at the negative peer pressure we would get as well. Yeah, talk about being cancelled.
Yeah, it's funny because even like when you move away from the individual level, like individuals being scared of being cancelled, not
Yeah.
even just that, powerful countries like the UK are also scared of being cancelled by other powerful countries like the US. Because when in case you go to an international meeting and then they ask questions, the kind of answers that representatives of the UK would give is not necessarily what they think, but they're thinking, will we still have allies in other
Right.
countries? So the cancellation thing is not something that are only feared by just individual people.
No,
but it's
absolutely not.
even countries that feed themselves and don't necessarily need other countries to take care of themselves are still scared of getting
Well,
cancelled.
that's a very good point when you see about countries which, for example, are able of looking after themselves, they
Yeah.
have plenty of food, whatever, because that's the disgrace then for individual human beings as well,
Yeah.
and bringing it back from the large perspective to the individual one, because this fear of cancellation, for example, on many, many occasions, it's not a case of, okay, I'm going to starve.
Right.
No, of course it's not.
Yeah.
I might lose this job. Does that mean I'm never ever going to be able to get another job?
Yeah.
I'm never going to be able to feed my family? No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. I'm going to be put to death? No, it doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
So really, that's
Right. No, actually, that's a really good point you raised, because the book that we read from Naomi Wolf, and she was saying the exact kind of thing,
yeah.
where the people who would not fight for the truth, it's not necessarily that they're not going to eat or even be able to go on holiday and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
just the class of I won't be invited to this
Sure.
party, and I won't be, it's not even necessarily a thing about sustainability or livelihood, or their children are going to starve.
Yeah.
So it's just the very vain things I won't be invited to this party and stuff like that. So when you think
I'll
about
use my friend, because my friends
my
have got a
friendship
particular
circle,
mindset,
yeah.
and and yes, and it's quite reasonable to love our friends and respect them. If they have different viewpoints to us, that's fine.
Yeah.
But our primary duty, really,
Yeah.
if it's the truth, we want reality,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, then that becomes the first thing. Then yes, our friendships and everything else have to be in that context.
Right.
Now, I consider myself lucky in that sense to sort of have discovered a faith in Jesus Christ, which gives us something absolutely solid.
To stand
But
on,
interestingly, somebody was saying to me quite recently, when I asked, is there any other way of bringing about peace, overcoming fear, all the kind of fears, whether it's being cancelled, of dying, of whatever, which plague our world, could we do this without any religious input?
Right.
And yes, the answer is, well, yes, all we would need to do is, fine, take the responsible attitude, the loving attitude, the forgiving attitude,
Right.
the generous attitude, the understanding attitude. That's all we need to do.
Yeah.
And then, but now, just like you probably heard the fable of Belling the cat, haven't you?
No.
Oh yes, a group of mice were getting really disturbed because obviously their number was going down because there was a cat
Yeah.
about. And somebody comes up at a meeting of the mice and says, what we need to do, we need to put a bell on the neck of the cat so that when the cat's approaching, we'll ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
and then we're quite safe.
Right.
And the meeting said, that's an excellent idea. Now can we have a volunteer to step forward and put the bell on? Now, that's our problem.
Yeah.
That's our problem. And without that willingness to step forward like that, well, yeah. So I don't want to go that far. You don't want to go that far.
No.
And the other so many billion people don't want to go that far either.
Yeah.
And is there any way that we can acquire that kind of courage, that kind of vision, that kind of whatever? No. And that's what I come back to. Yes, it can only happen through an openness to the one who made us and the one who loved us.
Yeah.
I wish there was another way, an easy way. I want everything to be easy in life. I'm a great customer of Amazon because it's so easy ordering of them. I wish you could do this. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Prime service.
Yeah.
Yes, give me peace.
That is free PR for Amazon, free advertisement.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, I can't think of anyone else that does that kind
That
of
kind
job
of easy service,
so
no, actually.
efficiently. You know.
I think the one you like as well is DPD because they give you the time.
Delivery, yeah, when they come. Rather than say, oh yes, you've got a delivery slot between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. You think that's good? I'll sit there and twiddle my thumbs all day. Never mind. So
yeah.
I don't know what. As far as principles go,
Yeah.
we need, I think, principles to be decent human beings. If we're not
Right.
worried about being decent human beings, we're just worried about being predatory animals,
Right.
then fair enough.
Then we can do whatever we
Yeah,
want.
and that, in a way, though, that is a principle. Yes, my job in life is just to rip as many people as possible, or even worse, to not bother how many people I do, as long as I get what I want.
Yeah.
And I want money, I want sex, I want whatever, well, that's fine. And I
Yeah.
don't care who I hurt in the process. If that was the case, well. And if you have any principles, they have to be worthwhile.
Right.
Then,
Yeah.
But then we still need the courage to follow them, because a lot of people would acknowledge those principles are worth having, but it's another thing putting it into practice, like this
Yeah.
business about being willing to die
Right.
for what we believed in, or to being willing to die for others. If you or
Yeah.
I were offered the choice just now of giving our lives, just like that, to save 1,000, 10,000 other lives somewhere else,
Yeah.
maybe including a few people that we knew and loved, but the rest were obviously strangers.
Strangers, yeah.
We haven't got that many in you, but on social media. But would we? My God, because our life is our life, and it's only when you believe that this life is a part of a continuum of life, stretching into the forever and ever and ever,
Yeah.
that you can say, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'll lay down one part of it. But if you feel this is all I've got and all I ever will have,
Yeah.
then yeah,
We are probably coming to the end of our
probably,
program,
yeah.
but I just wanted to say one thing that probably my favorite thing that you say when it comes to like in terms of fighting for what you believe in or in your values and your principles is the fact that usually more than 99% of the time you don't even have to die for what you stand for.
Yeah.
Like most people have not been called to die for what they stand for. It's just a little step you need to take to stand for what you believe in, and even that little step is so difficult. And it's about that imaginary fear that you talk about, that people are so scared that what if I do this and that happens, what if I do this and that happens. And because of this imaginary fear, a lot of people would say, I would rather sit down and be peaceful. I just want to work, even maybe go to church and then take care of my children, die and go like very peacefully. But then when you think about it in terms of, okay, what if you allow all these other things to happen in the world? Say you're able to live peacefully and then die, take care of your children as much as you can, but all these things you've allowed to happen are going to affect your children, the children that you care about so much and you were thinking you were protecting. But these things tend to get worse and get worse and get worse just because, well, we right now are not doing anything about
Well, that's
it.
right. That's why the world is in that condition, because
Yeah.
everyone has left it. The good people have left it
Yeah.
to somebody else.
Yeah.
We've not wanted to interfere with people's lives. We've not wanted to do anything other than make a living,
But
usually an honest living,
yeah.
take care of our family, take care of our, that's all we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's
It doesn't
people who
work
want,
that way,
no,
yeah.
we have to be willing to be activists and find our meaning
Yeah.
in life
Yeah.
like that. So there we go.
We have come to the end of our program. I have enjoyed the program. We hope
I
you
have too.
have too. And if you've watched to this point, I'm guessing that you're enjoying the program. So
Mhm.
kindly like, comment, subscribe.
Cheer.
Until next time, it's bye for now.
Bye.
If you like this video, kindly like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find us on other social media platforms, on Twitter at Talk with Tony and on Instagram at talkwithtony.live. Don't forget, live, laugh, and most importantly, love. Watch out for the next video. It's bye for now.